Today I'm going to spend just a few minutes running through 5 fundamentals of creating engaging drone videos. Now, has this ever happened to you? Hey, do you want to have a look at my latest drone video? It's really awesome. Yeah, I suppose so. Oh, well, don't get so excited then. Come on then. Now, our grumpy friend here is going to get a pleasant surprise. His colleague had just watched this video and is about to show him a very different drone video to his normal style. How's he going to do that if you haven't even finished making the video yet? I don't know. Now just watch this 44-second creation and see if you can work out the 5 fundamentals that kept his friend watching. And I literally just gave you a clue to one of them. Yeah, it's alright to be fair. There's no pleasing some people. So let's run through what can take your drone edit from a 5-minute snorefest to an engaging slice of video that your friends and family wouldn't have to lie about being happy to watch.
Russians don't take a dump, son, without a plan.
Classic film. You may have heard of the 5-part structure of storytelling. Exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Try to do the same with your video. Even a sub 1 minute video can incorporate these elements. Let's have a quick look back at some of these elements from our 44-second video. For exposition, a devastatingly handsome young man walking in the countryside with his drone. The rising action section shows the drone literally rising and approaching the subject of the video. In the climax, we have a close-up view of our subject. And in the falling action, there are views of the surrounding area and a flight back, with the resolution of the incredibly good-looking pilot catching the drone. So when you're arranging your clips, try to do it in an order that looks like you've actually thought it through and haven't created just some random scrapbook drone video. I find that making a plan of how many scenes I want for each of the elements of the story and roughly how long I want them to be really helps here. There's a useful function right in Davinci Resolve for this. If you go into File, then Project Notes, and open that up, you can stick your notes in there. Or you could just use a pen and paper if you're some sort of analog monkey. A top tip here, the typical non-droney, or ND, has a very short attention span, possibly even shorter than mine. So limit the length of any clip to a maximum of about 15 seconds. This will stop them from getting bored and, well, sodding off. It's rubbish. If you do have a shot that is way more than 15 seconds, but you absolutely feel you must keep it in, don't be afraid to speed it up to get to the action. This can actually have the added benefit of enhancing anticipation and creating a little bit of excitement. Okay, reality check time. How many blockbuster movies have you seen that are filmed entirely with a drone, with no dialogue?
Well,
None. Unless you go to one of those weird bougie French film festivals, of course, but then you would have probably stopped watching this video by now and are busy buying a painting of a yellow stripe on a yellow background or something. Drone footage in movies and documentaries is primarily used as B-roll. It's used for scene setting and enhancing the narrative. Very much like you see in those moody Scandi crime dramas. Okay, that wasn't quite Scandi, but you get the idea. With this in mind, keep your production short. Use only the best of the best of the best clips, and then trim those down even more. You're looking for a pure distillation of quality footage, so definitely take out all those wonky bits. You may have spent ages on a shot, and be very impressed with how you did it. But bear in mind that the viewer may just not appreciate that or even care about how you did it. Look at what you're doing through the eyes of a non-droney and be brutally honest with yourself. How interesting is this shot for them? So be ruthless and hypercritical of your work. And if you're not 100% happy with the quality of a clip and it isn't essential to what you're trying to achieve, just bin it. Oh, and of course, while you're doing this, if you're putting it on YouTube, don't forget to put the obligatory like and subscribe graphic there, because if people hit like, then it will tell YouTube to show your video to other people that might also find it useful. And it would also really help you out. I can't keep up the pretense any longer. If you could hit like and subscribe, that would be great, but, you know, you do you. Thanks very much. And thank you to everyone that's subscribed so far. You're all awesome. Some of you of a certain age may remember when Microsoft put transitions into PowerPoint. All the clever people in the office started using them, and there were all sorts of weird things going on as people moved from slide to slide in their presentations. Now, how many of these do you see at work now? Exactly. Only Tom, Dan, Sam and Baz from marketing use them because they think it's retro and ironic. They're just trashy and distracting and... PowerPoint seems to have come a long way since the 90s. Some of those bits are actually quite good. But still, not suitable for our purposes. How many fancy transitions did you spot in that video? Yeah, you're right, precisely 0. My point is that too many fancy transitions are just a distraction. They can take your viewer out of the moment and ruin any feeling of immersion you're trying to achieve. The most simple transition effect isn't even an effect. It's simply where one clip ends and the next one starts without a gap, commonly known as a jump cut. Now, what's the equivalent of a jump cut in the real world? That's right, blinking. So a jump cut is what feels most natural to the viewer. I know I'd get pretty concerned if every time I blinked I saw the world as a rotating box, or it folded up and turned into an origami bird and flew away or something. Although there was that time of that party in the 80s, never mind. Sometimes the occasional dissolve or fade out could be used to represent something like the passage of time, but do use them sparingly. Right, this is where we really amp up our game and take that footage from okay to, well, a bit better. Let's get our groove on. Now, firstly, before we go any further, if you're going to put your video up on social media, you will need to use royalty-free music. Don't be sticking the latest bit of Taylor Swift on your track. Otherwise, the copyright police will come down on you like a ton of bricks. Or even worse, you could get thrown out of the Swiftie Club. Now, you can pay a nominal subscription to use tracks from the likes of Audio, Artlist or Epidemic Sound, but I actually find that the vast number of tracks that are available for free on the YouTube audio library are perfectly adequate. For the moment at least. All of these tracks are royalty-free and available to download and add to your video. With these tracks, there is a CC icon next to them. It shows that they are Creative Commons material. I don't know what that means, Google it. But what it does mean to us is that you can still use them, but you must credit the artist in the video, or at least in your description. Click on the icon, download the note and just copy and paste it into your description. Personally, I credit every piece of music, whether it's Creative Commons or not, just because I think all of those fabulous artists should be acknowledged, and just because, well, I'm a nice chap. This is my favourite bit, the absolute icing on the cake, the wrath of Khan, the cat's pyjamas, the dog's bollocks. With the music you've chosen, one of the best things you can do is synchronize your transitions to work with the music. This way it looks like your video is made with absolute intent and meshes the video and the soundtrack together so that they complement each other. Once you've imported your music track and put it under your clips, expand it so that you can see the waveform. If your music has a strong percussive rhythm, you should easily be able to see the spikes of the beat. Zoom in on your timeline if you need to make it clearer. Then find the nearest beat to a transition and adjust the start and end point of your clips so they coincide with it. The fact that you trimmed your tracks down to within an inch of their lives in step 2 now means that you should have a lot of play with either side of the clips to edit them around.
Cool.
I tend to find that starting at the beginning of the video and working my way through is most effective. Just doing this will subtly give the impression that you meant to do it all along. If there's less of a beat but more of a transition in the music, you may have to move things around a little bit so that they synchronize nicely. Like with this bit. I'm not gonna lie, that just happened to line up like that by pure coincidence. Sometimes these things just happen. So, as my old friend Swiss Tony would say, making a drone video is
very much like making love to a beautiful woman.
plan it out and execute with purpose. Keep it short. Brevity is key. Maintain engagement with simple but quick transitions. Pick out a suitable soundtrack and synchronize your movements to the music. Bye.